Hello everyone. Nobody likes making mistakes, especially when there's money on the line. Even mistakes costing as little as 50 cents can be pretty darn frustrating, so imagine how you'd feel if you had made one of the most expensive mistakes in history. These people made mistakes costing thousands, millions, and even billions of dollars, and some of them even cost people their lives. From causing horrible disasters to disastrous corporate mergers, expensive mistakes come in all shapes and sizes. We're counting down to the most expensive mistake in history, so hopefully whatever you've fudged up lately won't seem so bad in comparison. 7. Cerro Grande. Cost: $1 billion. The Cerro Grande fire in New Mexico remains the state's worst wildfire ever. It began as a controlled burn in Bandelier National Monument, but high winds carried the fire north, south, and east of its designated lines. The fire blazed into the neighboring towns of Los Alamos and White Rock. The Cerro Grande fire burned 47,000 acres of New Mexico forest and struck 280 homes. 18,000 residents were forced to evacuate. Although the fire constituted an enormous loss for the people of New Mexico, fire management lessons were learned from the experience, and those learnings are still in use today. 6. Stealth bomber crashed on takeoff. Cost: $1.4 billion. In 2008, the B-2 stealth bomber was the most expensive plane in the Air Force arsenal. There were only 21 of the bombers made at that time. Despite the plane's tremendous cost, it could still be brought down by a simple mistake. During a test flight in Guam, a faulty sensor in a B-2 caused the plane to stall during takeoff. It immediately crashed, taking out $1.4 billion with it. Water had gotten into the sensor because a technique to deal with moisture in the engines hadn't been properly communicated to the right personnel. Luckily, the two pilots in the plane were able to safely eject themselves, so nobody was killed in the incident. 5. Columbia disintegrated on re-entry. Cost: $13 billion. The Space Shuttle Columbia crash of 2003 will sadly go down in history as another spacecraft accident that should never have happened. The shuttle was torn apart upon re-entering the Earth's atmosphere because of a piece of foam that fell from the shuttle's external tank, breaching its wing. All 7 astronauts on board Columbia were killed. When Columbia took off 16 days prior, a similar issue with falling foam had taken place, but nothing was done to correct the problem. This tragic incident led to the whole NASA Space Shuttle fleet being retired in 2011, and NASA bore tremendous public scrutiny for not taking precautions to secure the foam on the shuttle's tank. 4. Challenger explosion. Cost: $5.5 billion. On January 28, 1986, the Space Shuttle Challenger was scheduled to take off. It was supposed to be the Challenger's last flight, and the mission included scientific objectives and satellite deployments. Unfortunately, unpredicted temperatures caused a tragic malfunction. Frosty temperatures the night before the launch caused rubber parts in the rocket boosters to freeze. The frozen parts didn't seal the way they were supposed to, and the Challenger exploded, killing the 7 astronauts on board. The Space Shuttle had never been tested at temperatures that cold, and sadly this oversight led to 7 lives and billions of dollars being lost. 3. Sinking of Prestige. Cost: $6.9 billion. Despite its illustrious name, by 2002 the Prestige was a rundown oil tanker with 26 years of transport work under its enormous belt. While carrying 77,000 metric tons of oil, the Prestige got caught in a storm off the coast of Spain. The ship took on water, causing engines to shut down. As the ship leaked oil into the ocean, the crew was evacuated. After several days of debate and delay, the ship was finally brought into harbor in Spain. The ecological damage, cleanups, and legal fees cost $6.9 billion. If the ship had been better maintained, it likely would have withstood the storm and the oil spill never would have happened. 2. Fukushima Daiichi nuclear disaster. Cost: $12 billion. Fukushima Daiichi was a nuclear power plant on the coast of Japan that unfortunately gained worldwide notoriety in March of 2011. An earthquake caused the reactors at the plant to shut down, but it also caused a tsunami. The tsunami shut down the plant's backup generator, preventing the necessary cooling process from taking place. Following this unfortunate chain of events, 3 nuclear reactors melted down and hydrogen explosions released dangerous radiation into the air. A 2012 investigation found that all of these events were totally preventable. Unfortunately, guidelines for the plant's necessary maintenance had been ignored and disaster struck at Fukushima. 1. Chernobyl disaster. Cost: $590 billion. The Chernobyl disaster is the worst, most deadly nuclear accident of all time. The worst part is, it occurred due to some totally preventable mistakes. On April 25, 1986, a drill simulating a power outage at Chernobyl led to uncontrolled reactions and a steam fire that burned for 9 days. 134 workers were hospitalized due to radiation exposure, and 31 of them died in the following few weeks. 14 of them would later die from cancer, possibly caused by the radiation. The Chernobyl power plant ran on a Soviet-designed reactor that wasn't up to code for usage anywhere else in the world. Design flaws in that reactor caused the terrible incident, and irreparable damage occurred.